Alright guys, so today I'm going to make a video about my 1/64 scale farm toy collection, and I'm probably going to put this video into two different parts because if I do everything in one video, it'll probably be very long. So instead, I'm going to do more agriculture stuff this video, and then the other video will be like trucks and trailers and stuff. So to get it started, we are going to do construction. So I have an Ertl backhoe, two Die-Cast Masters skid steers. One of them I painted the inside tracks black to make it look realistic. And then we have an Ertl Deere skid steer. And then I believe Maisto loader, it's yellow, and then this older D100 dozer, and then an Ertl excavator. Alright, so now up next is the combines. So starting off, we have a Titan 7720. It's a really nice combine. And so then next up, we have a 9760, one of my first combines. It's pretty basic, not that much detail. And so then next up, we have the popular S690 tracked. Really nice track details. Other than that, it's a pretty basic combine. And so then lastly, we have the CR990, which is a relatively newer combine, which is the Ertl Prestige series that has more detail, such as the ladder and the foldable auger and more cab details. Alright, so now we have the spreaders slash sprayers. So over here we have a regular John Deere sprayer, which is a pretty common one that you can get at most, Tractor Supply, places that carry the collect and play vehicles. It's pretty standard. So then next we have an older John Deere sprayer, which is the 4710. And this sprayer is pretty small. It's, not as common, but it's kind of more unique. And so then lastly, we have the R3040 sprayer, which has a lot of detail. It's definitely the newest out of these three, and it's the largest, so it's honestly a really nice piece. Alright, so for our first lineup of tractors, we have the four-wheel drives and the two larger track tractors. So over here we have a T9 with duals. Overall, really nicely detailed, which is one of my favorite tractors. So then next up we have a 535 case, also with duals. It's an older tractor, it's more unique. And so then here's one of my cheaper John Deere tractors. It's not marked and it's pretty low detail. I mean, black cab glass, mostly plastic. It's pretty cheap. So then here is a SpecCast Challenger MT series, which has a lot of nice detail with like handrails, the hood opens, has a realistic 3-point hitch, all kinds of detail. So then over here is actually an older Cat Challenger 65D, older release by Ertl. It's pretty solid. It actually has a decent amount of weight, and it's kind of unique as well. And so then lastly, the crowd favorite Steiger Panther 2, and this one is the State Series, which it shows it on the other side, and it's a Hawaii, I believe. Alright, so next is my more medium-sized tractors. So, starting off, we have another New Holland. As you can see, it has a pretty nice, track detail. Other than that, it's kind of more basic. And so then, next up, we have 3 John Deere tractors that are all 8Rs, except for this one. This is the newer version out of the other 2. And so then here we have a 7215R, also pretty basic standard Earl tractor. And so then we have a Case IH Magnum 180, also fairly standard, nothing much special about it, but still pretty cool. Alright, so next up are some of the more smaller tractors to smaller medium tractors, I guess you could say. So one of my older tractors is actually this 1370. I'm not sure when it was released, but as you can see, it has some paint chips and stuff, so it's been played with a little bit. And so then here is another New Holland T7, also pretty standard, regular looking New Holland. So then we have a Case loader. I'm not too good with all these tractors, so I might not remember all the names. Also, this is sort of a newer one. It's actually pretty nice. So then, now this is definitely an older Case, and you can obviously tell because it doesn't have cab glass, and overall it just has less detail than some newer Ertls. And so then next up is the Case International, older turbo with the duals. It's one of my favorites just because it's such an iconic looking tractor. And so then next up is one of my only custom tractors, because I just don't really do that many customs of these. And obviously I put duals on the back. Originally it came with singles, and then I put this crappy stack on here. So obviously I didn't do the best job, but I used what I had. It's no identification or anything on it. So then next up is this Ford 8870 with large duals, and it has pivoting steering, and then I also put cab glass in it because originally it didn't have any. It's also a really unique truck. Lastly, we have a Massey Ferguson Heston windrower, swather, whatever people want to call it. There's different names for it. It has a pretty neat stack right there on the back. And so yeah, that's an overview of the smaller tractors. Alright, so now we have the smallest tractors out of the bunch. And obviously, starting off down here is a small Case Farmall 90 or 85. One of the smallest cab tractors that you can most likely get. And so then here we have a John Deere 120. And then we got the classic 4020 from John Deere. And then this, I believe, is actually made by Tomica. I don't know that it's really 1/64 scale, but it's pretty close, so I just kind of keep it in here. It's a Kubota, a very old one. I'm not really sure the details about it or anything, but it's pretty unique. And so then we have an Allis-Chalmers D19, also a pretty iconic one. And so then lastly, pretty much, honestly, my favorite tractor is this John Deere 6410. Also, one of my first tractors I've ever had. Alright, so next up is my grain handling stuff. So right here I just have two Ertl J&M gravity wagons. They're kind of a little bit older. I don't really think they make them anymore, but they're actually really detailed, and they're actually some of my favorite pieces just because of how detailed they are. And so then I have two grain carts here, a Frontier and a J&M. They're both pretty much identical, like almost same color, just different branding pretty much. But other than that, they are almost the same exact thing, honestly. And once again, they have honestly really, really good detail, especially for the price, since these are pretty inexpensive. And so yeah, they're really nice. Okay, so now we have some tillage equipment. I don't have a lot of tillage equipment, but I have some. So here we have a Ertl 2200 field cultivator. And so then we have two turbo discs right here from Case, obviously. And so then last I just have this small little chisel plow or disc, whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty cheap small one. Alright, so then for planting units, obviously right here we have a New Holland planter, which is the foldable one. Right now it's obviously in transport mode. And so then here we have an ExactEmerge John Deere planter. Pretty, standard planter that most people have. And so then lastly, I have a John Deere drill that I actually customized and put the assist turn wheels. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but I put them on there. Alright, so now we have some of the smaller implements. So here are two bush hogs, and this is an actual bush hog from First Gear, I think. And then this is actually a custom one that I made, which is representing a Schultz batwing mower, painted in fairly similar colors to one. And so then here we just have a Greenlight hay wagon, and then a small hay rake. I actually think it's a Maisto hay rake, but it's very similar to the Ertl one. And so then we have these two round balers, obviously the John Deere and the New Holland, and the New Holland one's a little bit newer. And so then lastly, we have a mower, a Heston 1340 mower. Kind of harder to find, but it's definitely, something you don't see that often. Alright, so now to end it off, I just have some more miscellaneous implements that I have. So, first off, we just had this little, it's a little gravity wagon, or people might use them as seed tenders. I detailed it a little bit. And so then right here is just two collect and play manure spreaders. And then also a little collect and play pull behind sprayer. And then we have a pretty big wagon right here, which is also a pretty rare piece. And then we just have a Case large square baler. And then two more wagons. These are some smaller John Deere ones that are a bit older. And then we also have a Ertl manure spreader, also been played with. And so then lastly right here we have two pull behind choppers, one of which is an older International one, and then the one to the right is John Deere. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you liked the video, and stay tuned for another one featuring most of my trucks, trailers, etc.